What's up, people? How y'all doing? This is Uncle Dallas, or William Dallas from Higher Talk Chronicles, or Higher Standard Chronicles. Um, Today we're going to talk about something that is really, really close to me, and something that, all right, let's see if we can turn this off. Yeah. Welcome to Live Studio. This is my live studio. Today we're going to talk about something that's really, really, it's probably the craziest thing that I have ever had to talk about. And it's one of those things that is that's really, really dear to me, and something that I really have to really battle even in my own personal life. Let's see if we get this thing out. Yeah. That I have to battle in my own personal life, and I want to talk to you about it. And that is called fear. So today our subject matter will be fear. Guys, it's not a spirit. Today on the Higher Talk Chronicles. Hi guys, this is William Dallas with Higher Standard Chronicles. Today we talk about fear, but our discussion is always relationship, religion, and money. We talk about those different things, and those things are really the prevalent things in our lives. So let me grab my little trusty mic so that you can hear me quite well, and we can get started. If you are in the vicinity of this thought process, please make sure you take notes. Come in and say hi, and we'll do that. Let me get my other audiences available, because I know they're probably looking like, where in the world is he, and why don't we see him? Like I said, this has been one of the most interesting subject matters in my entire life. I have really had to deal with this spirit personally, as well as dealing with the spirit. Let's jump right in and let's start dealing with it. So there's a passage in the Bible that said God has not given you the spirit of fear. Now, you have to understand a couple things here. One of the things you have to understand is everything you receive comes through your spirit. So as it comes through your spirit, you have to deal with it accordingly. Now I'm trying to figure out how to do this, guys, so y'all please forgive me. It comes through your spirit. And so when it comes through your spirit, you have to realize that it has an origin, and that origin, that is really crazy, people. I cannot get this thing to do this. That origin is what makes everything go. So let's start with this. Every movement you make, it is based on two things: the power that you walk in, and the thing that controls the power. Everything, I don't care what it is, everything you walk in, it deals with that. And it's the power that you walk in and what controls the power. For example, your body has capabilities and strengths and things that you've never tapped into. And the reason you've never tapped into them, because nobody's ever told you how to tap into them. So your spirit alone, just your spirit, has the ability to, your spirit alone has the ability to do amazing things. But no one has ever taught you about these amazing things. And because they've never taught you about these amazing things, what takes place in your life is you never know that they're there. And so when you are taught these things, then you go to a different level. And what you go to is beginning to understand how capable you are to do those things. So when you come in, guys, say hello. How capable you are to do those things. I'm trying to get Instagram on, but I guess it's just not going to be one of those days. How capable you are to do those things. And so when dealing with fear, we think that fear is a spirit. God has not given you the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and a sound mind. Now, here's where it gets kind of crazy. Most of you, because you hear the spirit of fear, we've been taught that that is a spirit. Now, the key to a spirit is it has no beginning and it has no ending. The spirit is omnipotent. It is omnipresent. So the spirit has no beginning and it has no ending. It also has no competition. There is nothing, when you are in the spirit, there is nothing that can move or stop or motivate your spirit. Yeah, you follow me there. So when he says God is not giving you the spirit of fear, it means that the spirit that it has created, or the spirit that is produced by fear, was never given to you by God. Now, everything spiritually derives from God. That's going to take your time, let that one kind of run around in your head for a minute. Everything spiritually is derived from God. You follow what I'm saying? So if there is something that happened in your life, it is derived from God. I am really trying to figure this out, guys. I am really trying to figure this out. Yeah, I'm really trying to figure this out. That's crazy. Everything spiritual is derived from God. So if it's derived from God, that means that God gave it. The Bible says every gift, every good and perfect gift comes from God. So the perfection of fear came from God. Okay, so if the spirit of fear or fear is not a spirit, what is fear? And I'm glad you asked. This is really messing me up, guys. This is really messing me up because I'm sitting here pushing this button to do that, and I push this button to do that, and it does absolutely nothing. It doesn't anything for that. So God is not giving us a spirit of fear, but a power and love and sound mind. So if that is not, highlight more. That is the craziest thing in the world. Anyway, so let's get deep. I try to do that. So God is not giving us the spirit of fear, but a power and love of mind. So what is fear? Fear is not a spirit. Fear is actually a parasite. I've done some research. I've done a lot of research on this thing. And what has happened is the parasite in and of itself has taken on the attributes. Because if you think about everything that fear does, I need you to follow me here. I'm sorry. Think about everything that fear does. Oh, that just made me look all nerdy. Hello, my name's Alfred. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a geek by nature, whether I know it or not. I'm a geek by nature. When you think everything that fear does, fear is actually a parasite. Now, what is a parasite or something that's parasitic? The parasite itself takes on the source or takes on the attributes or the thing that the source offers. So everything that is offered to you, when this parasite attaches itself to you, what it does is utilizes your power. So you are a spiritual being. I need y'all to peep this. You are a spiritual being. So what happens is when fear attaches to you, it then looks like a spirit. It carries all the attributes of a spirit. It carries the look of a spirit because you're a spirit. But because you don't know that you're a spirit, you then operate on the level of wretched or carnal. Now, so check this out. Now, if you saw the flyer says how to get your power back, the greatest lesson you'll ever learn. What you're going to learn about fear today can literally change the course of your life. Literally change the course of your life. And the reason it'll change the course of your life, did I start early, guys? Yes, the reason it'll change the course of your life is because you will realize that fear not only is a parasite, but it is attached to certain things to control you. Now, I took some notes. Fear is not a spirit. The acceptance of fear gives it spiritual attributes. So if you accept fear and accept what fear offers you, then you become one with fear, which means now fear has the ability to be spirit. So that would be why you would see the passage says God is not giving you the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So the power, the love, and the sound mind are actually competitors to fear. Now, here's what you have to realize. There is a battle going on right now for you. This right now is going on for you. What's happening with this battle? It is a battle to keep you under control. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people that just really wants to understand why something doesn't work. It's a battle to take on you. It is a battle that says, okay, wow. It is a battle that says, okay, how do you go from point A to point B? It's a battle that says, how do I possess the power that is actually you? There we go. How do I possess the power that is actually you? How do I get in control of, there we go. I just need that for those people to get up. How do I take control of that thing? Okay, so here's what happens. A spirit has unlimited movement ability, unlimited power, and can do whatever a spirit wants to do. You don't know that because you feel you're limited by your physical. So that means if an idea or a thought process comes up, you are limited by the things that are around you, which is not true. So what happens is fear attaches. And what fear has to do, it has to be validated. Not only has to be validated, it has to be defined. So there's a passage that says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. It is not talking about the scary fear, it's the reverence. Follow me here. So fear needs reverence. It needs you to reverence the fact that it is there. It needs you to reverence the fact that it is attached to you. It needs you to reverence the fact that it controls you. Because what happens with this parasite, it controls and takes on the attributes of a spiritual being. So what happens is now you go, God is not giving you the spirit of fear. So the attributes, the reverence of fear is not come from God. The attachment of fear has not come from God. Where these things have come from is the fact that the things around you give you opportunity or invitations to be afraid. I talked to one of my people, one of the people I know, and they said, well, you do know certain times or certain things are certain seasons. For example, certain areas is hurricane season, certain areas are rainy seasons, certain areas are different things. And so what happens is we don't want to move because we are listening to the validation of what a non-spiritual being is offering to us. Why? Because we believe that we are a carnal being or a physical being or a carbon-based being. Because we think we're a carbon-based being, what happens to us is we then believe the things that are carbon-based, or we believe the things that are, how do I say this, that are carnal, that are physical, that we can touch and put our hands on. So my wife and I go on to a trip. My wife is a travel agent, so we get to make these trips for different reasons. So we go on the trip. I surely didn't bring water, did I? So we go on the trip. Matter of fact, there's the tickets right there. We go on the trip, and when we go on the trip, the weatherman says the entire week that we're there, it's going to rain. The entire week that we're there, it is going to rain. So my wife says to me, okay, we shouldn't go because, it's rainy season or it's hurricane season over here. Now, that is the carnal level. Because of the carnal level, we define our lives by attaching a fear to the information that was given to us. Why? Because we yield to the power of the thing we feel is more powerful than us. We yield to the power of the thing that we feel is more powerful than us. And so what happens is we never battle that thing. So we never battle the fact of what now, here's the thing. The weather people will tell you themselves, we don't know. We simply look at all the attributes and we make the best assumption we possibly can pertaining to what we see. So the weather people don't know. And so what happens is you're now looking at this thing going, okay, the weatherman said it's going to rain. So here's the key. You prepare for the thing that carries the level of power that you believe is greater than your power. You believe the thing that carries power that you believe is greater than your power. This is what a parasite does. So now you are convinced that it is going to rain. Hear me. You are convinced that it's going to rain. Because you're convinced that it's going to rain, you now attach your power to what the parasite has convinced you is true. You attach your power to what the parasite has convinced you is true. So the parasite says, be fearful, because once you're fearful, be fearful of rain. And as you go, well, yeah, I need to be concerned about the rain. At that moment, you give the parasite the ability, the strength, the power to become a spirit. Now, you're not going to be taught this anywhere else, I promise you. I promise you, no one's going to teach you this anywhere else. Why? Because what happens is the fear that people are using, that fear is given to you to control you. Every church that you go to has a level of that fear. If I told you that the devil has as much power over you as a piece of paper pushing you out a front door, most of you will go, no, the devil has power. The devil has the same power that fear has. He has the power of the parasitic or parasite, which means that he attaches to you. And once he attaches to you, he controls your movement by tweaking and activating past fears to keep you from moving to present and future places. He activates past fears. That's where the word remember comes from. It rebuilds your past fears to stop you moving into new present and new present and new positions. It never had power over you. Fear never has power over you, because it's the thing that you have to realize is you are the most powerful being on this planet. Not because you work out, not because you walk, because you carry a spirit. The spirit is the only attribute that is God-like, and we carry most of the attributes that are God-like. Does that make sense? So if you carry the attributes that are God-like, what you find yourself doing is operating at a different level. But if fear can attach itself to you, it'll begin to live the life that is your life. It'll begin to live the life that is your life. Now, I need everybody that's watching, type in there, I take back my life. I'm going to share something with you. Just type in, I'm taking back my life. What you have to realize is you are not under any kind of control of anything on this planet. Nothing on this planet has the capabilities to control you. The challenge that you have is you're around people that are being controlled, so they try to convince you that you should be under control. For example, if you go to work and they say, hey man, I'm going to leave early because I got to take care of something. Oh man, you better not leave early, because if you leave early, the boss is going to say. Now, this is a legitimate thing. You find yourself going, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do it. Why? Because that parasite has made you vulnerable to things that look like fear wants you to see. That parasite has made you vulnerable to fear or to things that look like your fears or what you want to see. That's deep. That's deep. So now, let's say this. You decide you're going to create this new opportunity. You want to start a business. You want to do these different things. Let me help you out with this. Number one, if you're trying to start a business and money is your biggest problem, you don't really have a problem. But the moment that you take fear and try to make it your problem is the moment that you do have a problem. If you looked at this little, most of you did, let me just break this down for you. If you look at this flyer, you see how to get your power back. Then it says the greatest lesson you'll ever learn. But if you look at the little boy, on one side of him, you see a bulb. And that most of you probably don't know that. You see a bulb. On one side, you see a bulb, but on the other side is a broken bulb. Some of your ideas are broken because of fear. You think, I need money. You think, how am I going to get this money for this? How am I going to get this thing for this? What you have to think about is, what do you do with what you already have? Now, I'm understanding this. We're sitting on YouTube, and so my wife decides again, she wants to do something. When she decides she wants to do it, my wife is one of those people that just starts working toward doing it. If fear was the only thing that stopped you from moving, where would you be if there was no fear? Can you actually imagine if you woke up from a coma and everything you feared was gone? There was no fear. The only thing you would have, check this out now, the only thing you would have is knowledge and information. The passage says, with all you're getting, there's an old proverb that says, with all you're getting, get understanding. So, if all you had was knowledge and understanding, it meant that every possibility was a possibility for you. It meant everything that you wanted to do, you could do it. But we don't start business. Do you know that I read an article that said black movie stars don't do black movies because they're afraid of what the movie industry would do them. That's why you never see an Eddie Murphy and a Denzel Washington in a movie. That's why you never see two male stars in a movie together. Two powerhouse. That's why Will Smith will never get with an Eddie Murphy, or Will Smith will never get with a Denzel Washington, or now A-listers will never get with other A-listers, black A-listers. So I'm looking at this article and I'm like, what in the world is going on? Matter of fact, the article was from Eddie Murphy's standpoint. Look it up. I think it's on YouTube. Why? Because fear has stopped them from possibilities. I thought about that thing. Why haven't we built neighborhoods? Well, because we see all these things, how the white people in the past destroy. Look up the article about Lake Lanier. Look up the article about Central Park. We looked at how they tore down the black, what is it called? Wall Street. How they tore down the black Wall Street. So now those fears come and brings you forward and keeps you from moving into situations. Why don't we swim or dive? Because what we think about, and I did this myself. We think about every shark movie. Every negative thing that could hinder our flow, we let that thing be our mind. We let it be our mindset. We let it be our flow. And so what happens is you stop doing certain things. Do you know how many people are just afraid to walk out the house? There are people running around now. You're putting 100 different masks on your face because you're afraid that COVID is going to get you. Because where there is a lack of fear, there's a lack of knowledge. Where there's a lack of fear, there is a lack of knowledge. And when you begin to understand that, you understand that the only thing that's keeping you from where you are to where you're supposed to be is knowledge. Did you know, and check this out, did you know that if a shark came towards you, that if you hit him in the nose, just kind of hit him in the nose, the shock from his nose, because he's so sensitive, can cause him to turn away? Yeah, did you know that? Did you know that sharks can't swim straight down? Some sharks. Do you know all the things, all the information that encompasses what you're afraid of? Do you know? See, when I'm in battle with something, I learn all of the information about it. So I learned the weaknesses. I learned the strengths. I learned everything about it. When I wanted to go, we're certified scuba divers now. When I wanted to go scuba diving, I wanted to know everything about scuba. I wanted to know everything about scuba. And I think I have some pictures of us scuba diving. I wanted to know everything about scuba that needed to be known. I wanted to know the good, the bad. I wanted to know everything about scuba. Why? Because the more knowledge you have, the less opportunity the parasite has to attach to you. Because you know that it has no power and it's not worthy. So there are certain areas where sharks are not as prevalent as they are in other areas. Now, you watch television, you watch all these different things, and they'll try to tell you to the contrary. There are certain islands that you can go to, and those islands are never affected by hurricanes. But all they have to do is say hurricane season to you, and you're blocked. There are certain relationships, marriage relationship. My relationship with my wife is amazing. But we will justify and we'll dilute that by saying, well, you know, it's good sometimes, it's bad sometimes. Why? Because we don't understand spiritual aspects. We don't understand the parasite of fear. We don't understand the power of words. So what happens is we give you how you should interpret something instead of giving you the opportunity to interpret yourself. What time is it? We're doing good. I need you to understand something. The only way to beat fear, well, there are two ways to beat fear. The first way, The first way to beat fear, I broke something, didn't I? Oh, well, it's okay. The first way to beat fear is knowledge. Knowledge. Now, here's the first thing about knowledge. Knowledge is about not learning what people are telling you. Knowledge is about learning how to interpret it for yourselves. A lot of you are going to learn how to operate spiritually so that you can in turn move in a spiritual manner. Here's the difference. I told you about the story about going and the weather saying that it's going to rain all week and it doesn't rain all week. So I had to know when my spirit was checked pertaining to movement. So what that means is when I begin to study about my spirit, not about everything around you has an opportunity to change. Don't study about the stuff around you. Study everything. Where's my little map? Where's my little map? Study everything. So check this out. Now, this diagram right here is the best diagram that you'll ever get in your entire life. The one thing that fear is, and I'm going to use these because I was going to share this before I got off. Fear is a distraction. It's a parasite. It is something that's going to hinder the flow from your spirit to your mind to your body. That's what fear is. Fear is a parasite that is in these things here. These things are your complete person. If I did them correctly, the spiritual bubble would be this big. The mental bubble would be this big. And the body bubble will be this small. But what is happening is these things here that's the hindrance that fear is trying to do. Because anybody that has complete flow from their spirit to their mind to their body has victory, has growth, has impressive movement. Things happen that'll blow your mind. Things happen that will line up with where you're trying to go. And you don't have to operate in fear, but you have to have the knowledge here. You have to have this knowledge here. Let's hit this right. I can do this. You have to have this knowledge here. I'm looking at it on my screen. You have to have that knowledge there to grow into the place. If you don't have that knowledge, what you will have is an opportunity to lose out on stuff that belong to you in the first place. So the first thing is get knowledge. You have to take knowledge. Now, true knowledge is just an invitation to understanding. To know something is one thing, to understand something is totally different. Okay? Knowledge is an invitation. So I give you the knowledge that I'm talking to. Knowledge is an invitation. So you're invited to learn something. I invite you to learn about fear. But if you don't get understanding, that invitation is simply open. It's an open invitation. So now you learn about fear. Now, how do I know you know about fear? How do I get understand? How do you know how to beat fear? When you walk in it. When you walk in the knowledge, you have understanding. When you walk in the knowledge, you have understanding. I saw somebody write, the opposite of fear is knowledge. It is not faith. Faith is a mental construct that we've been given to say, okay, I'm going to believe, I'm going to believe, I'm going to believe. Now, belief is strong. The key to that is understanding is stronger. See, what happened to most of us, and this is sad. What has happened to most of us is we have been taught not to attain knowledge through any other source other than the media. We don't read anymore. We don't study anymore. We don't do any of those things that give us power, because knowledge is power. Now, when you say knowledge is power, a lot of people go, yeah, knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power because now you know. Knowledge is power because you combat the things that primitive mentalities and primitive instincts simply try to present to you. Fear is a primitive parasite. It is a parasite that interrupts your flow. It is a parasite that tries to shut down your immune system to ignorant stuff. It's a parasite that tries to freeze you in your place. Guys, there is nothing in the dark. Every dog has a soft time, but you have knowledge. So if they're aliens, they've been here for years. Stop letting the things on the exterior hinder your flow. I need you to hear. So the first thing is you have to get knowledge. Second thing, you have to walk in knowledge. And third thing, you have to put things into perspective. I'm doing a conference, and I'm going to keep talking about the conference because everybody gets afraid to talk about stuff because they're afraid of what people are going to say. I'm doing a spiritual retreat. It's going to be in August. I called somebody and they said it's hurricane season. Okay, it's hurricane season. But does hurricanes hit the same places every day? Do they hit every year? See, when you put things into perspective, you begin to take your knowledge and base your knowledge on your movement and not your fear. My knowledge says, okay, how many hurricanes have hit this? There's a place called Bonaire. The way it's an island in the Caribbean. The way Bonaire is positioned and mountain, a hurricane can't get to Bonaire. So if you're going somewhere during what they call hurricane season, which is actually a marketing season to get people to move in the time they want them to move in, because I've gone places in hurricane season, it's the most beautiful time in the world. Every once in a while it becomes windy. But anyway, it's a marketing thing. For example, saying that black people are worse than white people, saying that white people are better than white people, saying Indians smoke, or Chinese are really smart. All these things, whether they're right or wrong, are not used as knowledge. They're used as interruptions to your natural flow. Now, why do I say this? I need you to hear me. Because if I get you thinking about the wrong thing, I can control your process. Example, if I tell you that every Chinese person is smart, good at math, I can now send you someone that's Chinese or Oriental, and you will give them whatever they ask because you believe they're in either math or karate. And you never think, well, I can do this myself. I'll get this person to do it instead. Okay? That is the hindrance. That's the flow. Right now, one of my partners, partner friend, is working on a situation where we want to do some buildings. Now, there are all the attributes in the world. There are all the reasons in the world why we shouldn't do buildings. But one thing is we get knowledge and we study. We study land. We study different areas. You study those things. Why? Because fear is the opening of a primitive mentality about a situation. Write this down. Everybody that's on YouTube, I need you to write this down. I only fear what I don't understand. I only fear what I don't understand. And that's what happens with a lot of us. I only fear what I don't understand. I'm looking for something, guys. Give me a second. I only fear what I don't understand. Somebody write that down. I only fear. Now, do it. Because here's the deal. I only fear what I don't understand. And I only don't understand that I don't study. That I have knowledge of. I only fear that I don't understand. And I only don't understand that I don't have knowledge of. So if that's the case, that means I'm only afraid of the things that I don't know. The power of your mind is the fact that you can break something down to the least common denominator. I'm going to do something tomorrow to show you this video about man against lion. The key to this is understanding that the most powerful being in the world is you. And I'm going to go ahead and tie this down. For those of you on Instagram, you can see this on YouTube youtube.com/higher talk. If I told you that making $1 billion was easy and I just left you to yourself, you have knowledge of what I said, but you don't have understanding about what I said. So in 5 years, you come back to me and go, dude, I haven't made $1 million. And I said, okay, you don't have knowledge because I never gave you knowledge. I simply said, hey, you can make $1 million or $1 billion in a year. Getting understanding takes back the power and the control of your spirit. Getting understanding, hearing in the spirit, getting understanding takes back the control of the parasite called fear. Why? Because you then know what your attributes are. Then you know what will happen and what won't happen. Does that make sense? And that's where all of these things take place. So here's something I'm going to just kind of throw out here, and this is free, and then I'm going to go because I promised myself I'm going to start doing these things for 30 minutes. Okay. So here's something you need to know. There's something called spiritual timing, and I haven't talked about this very much. And that spiritual timing says the moment something drops in your mind, from your spirit to your mind, do it. Write it down. Give it life. Why? Because if it's released in the spirit, that means that there are other people that can pick it up. And they can pick it up by simply gaining knowledge of it and growing it and moving in the second direction. One of the things that I talked to my friend Will about is about stocks. Will told me to play this stock, buy this stock, buy this stock, buy this stock, buy this stock. I buy the stocks. At the time, they were cheap. Now they're $67, $30, and they were like less. They were like penny stocks. Now they're $67, $37, $97, and they're all going up. Why? Because I got knowledge. But when I began to study why they went up, I understood that I should have bought more because now I have understanding. If you want to do something great, get knowledge of that thing and get understanding of that thing. And once you get knowledge and understanding, there is nothing and no one that can stop you. But get knowledge of that thing and get understanding of that thing. Write it down. Write down all the details that you have. I was writing down these things here. You can't really see that. And the last one says the spirit stands alone. The basic structure of fear. The basic structure of fear is being attached to a host that can give it what it doesn't have by itself. Attaching to a host that can give it what it doesn't have by itself. Does that make sense? Okay. Any questions, comments, or concerns? You don't let fear have any room in your mind. Now, some of you, it's going to be difficult because you've been carrying fear for so very long. So what you have to do is begin to walk in areas that made you afraid. Walk in areas that you feared. And I don't mean go in like guns blazing. If you're afraid of water, go to a swimming pool. If you're afraid of being outside, just walk out the door. If you're afraid of COVID, anything you're afraid of, get knowledge on it, then move on, move in it. Get knowledge on it, then move in it. All right? Okay, guys. That's it. Any questions, comments, concerns? If you want to watch this, you can go to YouTube and watch this. If you want to be a part of the retreat, that information is available. Simply either email me or DM me on my Instagram, which is the same as my YouTube. And then finally, I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate you for doing all the things that you do. This is my 30 minutes. I am William Dallas, and this is the Higher Standards Chronicles. We talk about relationship, religion, and money. And you guys enjoy your life, enjoy your day, enjoy what's going on, and I will see you on tomorrow on this station at this time. All right, love you guys. Peace.